I hate gift giving and receiving.
Receiving gifts is so weird. What do you say? Thank you?
This is Coffee Convos with Kale Lowry and Lindsay Chrisley.
I really want you to be in your feels, Kale.
That does not interest me whatsoever.
I feel very attacked by you.
A spirited discussion about motherhood, friendship, family, and life in the public eye.
I'm just not with the fakery anymore.
There's a fakery bakery around here.
Here's Kale and Lindsay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Coffee Combos.
I'm still tired from our Telegram group chat last night. Like, if I have to do anything related to like being timely after 5 p.m., forget it.
I have to say that I was very frustrated with Lux because, Lux we just have a different, I don't know. So I was going to come down here to this office to record it or to be on the live. And then, he was very upset at me leaving again. So I was like, all right, I'll stay home and record it from the home office. But you have to be really quiet. You need to listen, be occupied. He's like, I'm just going to color. So I'm like, okay. And then there he is, his little head bopping in the camera, talking.
Oh, he was on there the whole time.
And then I was just like, after we were done, I was like, Lux, I can't stay home and work if you're going to keep doing this, because they don't understand the work from home thing. I know that it comes from a place of love, but kids do not understand the work from home thing.
Wait, I have to tell you something about that, because Jackson was so funny the other day. He was like, Mom, I really wish that you could just be a stay-at-home mom. And I was like, what do you think that I do now? I am always here. And he's like, I know, but you'll be working, or you have errands that you have to do, or
so he wants you to work, be home, but not work from home.
Yeah, he wants me to just be home all the time, never working. I'm not going to have a job. I'm not allowed to run errands. I'm not allowed to do anything after school pickup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, in a perfect world, I also wouldn't do anything after school pickup. So I'm with Jackson on that.
And I'm just like, son, I don't know, what universe that you're orbiting in, but I am now a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
Contrary to popular belief, I do not get $15,000 a month in child support. That was a funny thing. Yeah. Supposedly, Redditors said that I get $15,000 a month in child support. So,
well, who's your baby dad? Because I'm going to go fuck him.
I literally
for $15,000 a month. Too. Yes, we're getting pregnant on purpose. We'll have siblings.
Listen, I would. First of all, if I was getting paid $15,000 a month in child support, that lifestyle would have been so good I wouldn't have left it.
Period. Period.
So that's number one. Number two, there is no child support. Not that that's anybody's business, but there's no child support that goes either way in my case. So don't know where that
came from.
Start assuming things. But I am in official mom uniform. I'm in a large sweatshirt, a pair of leggings, baseball hat, because I am going to try to run all of my errands today before I get Jackson back so that he doesn't bitch me out for needing to go to Sam's Club.
Period. And honestly, do you really want to bring Jackson to Sam's Club with you?
No, because here's the thing, and the grocery store. I don't know if you experience this, but
I won't bring my kids to the fucking grocery store unless I absolutely have to.
It's so hard because what you go to get and what you end up leaving with,
mm-hmm.
you get what you go to get, and then you have a whole other collection of items. My son thinks that he needs to go on the novelty aisle, and any holiday that possibly is, we need to get something from that. And also all the shitty toys that are 5 times the price because they're such a tiny toy section. So they inflate the price.
Yep.
And I'm like, sir, this literally is not even $1 at the dollar store.
My kids are into the littles, Lux and Creed. Lincoln is too a little bit. He's getting back into it. They're into the WWE action figures, but they're $15, $20 for one freaking figure.
I was literally just having this conversation yesterday about how I don't care that Jackson, he's obsessed with stuffed animals. And there's just some kids, I swear, they're going to be the kids that grow up that have all those stuffed animals like in the back of their car, you know,
like the
that
Ty
ride on
Beanie Babies, the TY
Yeah.
Beanie Babies. Yeah.
But I don't hate it as much. The stuffed animals don't bother me as much as the tiny little figures.
Like figures.
And then like the little figures that come with little accessories.
My
Forget
kids
it.
actually throw the accessories out. Like if a wrestler comes with extra hands, my kids don't care about those. Thank God.
Thank God, because that is the most annoying thing. I think about like girls, we have not experienced this, but like girls with Barbies and how they have like
Shopkins.
the clothes, the high heels, no, absolutely not. Like we're not, first of all, no. I just tripped and stomped on Legos and harmed myself for years. I can't imagine being a mom of a girl, like walking into a playroom, stomping all over those high heels and shit.
No, I'd cry and I would be out. Like the Shopkins, the little accessory. No, absolutely not. I mean, although I would love to have a girl one day. I mean, this is how I look today. I had the closet installation. So like part of me is like, I shouldn't have a girl because some days we're just going to look like this.
Mm-hmm.
My closet installation, I know you had your closet done a while back. They were supposed to come yesterday, called me at 9 and said they had a funeral, which I'm pretty sure you knew you had a funeral prior to 9 a.m. on a Monday on President's
Did someone
Day.
schedule a last minute funeral?
Right. And so I was like, okay, like we'll see you when we see you. And so then they came this morning at like 9. And then I also had to go to an appointment for TSA pre-check because all these years I never had TSA pre-check. And I had told Kristen about it like years ago. And she was like, like it just like we never like did anything with it. Kristen's going to hate me for that. But my friend, well, she does like my videography and stuff. She's like, you need TSA pre-check. It's a game changer, blah, blah, blah. It was so fucking easy. It was a 10-minute appointment. So I dropped the kids off, let the guy in, drop the kids off at school, go to the TSA pre-check appointment, and then come here. I got a huge delivery that's just sitting in front of my face that I want to scream because I just have more shit to do. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Like this is why I look like this morning. And this is why I shouldn't have a daughter because she would look like this sometimes.
Listen, I think that we need to normalize looking like that more regularly because it is very realistic. I think a lot of times we get like in our heads, we'll log on social media or Facebook and we'll see like a pretty picture of somebody and we're like, I wish I looked like that today, but like honestly, they probably don't look like that today either.
But I have been putting so much effort into the way I look lately that this feels very dirty to me now. Not when I look at other people, just for myself, because I've been truly trying to like have my makeup on, do my hair, especially for podcasts and stuff like that, because I feel better, you know? And, but I just didn't have the time and I actually just didn't wake up on time this morning either. So, but yeah, maybe normalize it. Maybe I should do this like once a week.
Listen, there's nothing better than a Sunday. I was saying this to my girlfriend that I was walking with on Sunday because I love to wake up like a little bit late on Sundays, watch church from home. If Jackson's here, I, cook breakfast, do that whole thing, spend time with him in the morning. Love to go on an afternoon walk, but it has to be like a nature walk. It can't be just like a walk on a track or something. Like I want to be like one with nature.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like in the woods, probably getting chiggers and ticks.
Not chiggers and ticks.
And like a little late lunch
mm-hmm.
and an early bedtime. But all of that is happening in a baseball cap. No, I will, that like, what do they call it? Like the brush that like you do your hair with but it's like the heat one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Like I'll do that I honestly use that more now, even for like my regular hairbrush. It reminds me of like back in the day when old women used to use like a hot brush. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like old ladies would use a hot brush. Now I feel like it's the new and improved hot brush. And that is what I use for my hair every day. Even if I like don't get ready, I always use it. Skincare, baseball cap, like mom clothes, just like the mama form. And that's a great Sunday. It's like my favorite day of the week.
I love that. I love like a chill Sunday, not really doing anything, just like like some little things like go for a walk. That's a big deal. Get some sun, get your, serotonin going. Coffee Convos podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. Yep. While you're listening to us talk, you're probably also driving, cleaning, exercising, or maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you could be doing right now. Getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's easy and can save you money by doing it right from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $700 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts for having multiple vehicles on your policy, being a homeowner, and more.
So just like your favorite podcast, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year, so you're protected no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at progressive.com to join the over 29 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates national average 12-month savings of $698 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2021 and May 2022. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations.
LeafWell is the #1 telehealth provider for medical cannabis certifications. It's helping people access the powerful health benefits of cannabis. Whether it's chronic pain, depression, anxiety, or insomnia, cannabis could help. LeafWell is kicking off the new year with a 20% discount code on your certification with the promo code COFFEE. Best of all, there is a 100% money-back guarantee if you are not approved. Stop the side effects of heavy prescription drugs. Cannabis can be the natural, non-addictive medical alternative you should try first, not last.
Medical cards give you access and can have benefits like huge savings on sales tax, save up to 40% or more depending on your state. That is just an amazing savings. You guys can go to leafwell.com and get 20% off with the promo code COFFEE at checkout. Leafwell.com and enter promo code COFFEE at checkout. Leafwell.com, promo code COFFEE. Wait, I have an update for you.
Oh, let's hear it.
So we have not talked anything about Brian Laundrie or Gabby Petito in such a long time.
Oh my gosh,
but
yeah.
Did follow it. And I recently saw an article on CNN, and it says Gabby Petito's family attorney wants the letter he says Brian Laundrie's mom wrote him offering to bury a body with inscription, "Burn after reading." It says Brian Laundrie's mother wrote a letter to her son that included references to getting a shovel and burying a body, an attorney representing the parents of Gabby Petito said during court hearing on Tuesday. The Petitos are suing the Laundries for emotional distress in connection with Gabby's death during the road trip with her boyfriend, Brian, whatever. The lawyer for Petito's parents, Patrick Riley, said during a remote hearing in Sarasota County Circuit Court in Florida that he saw a letter at an FBI regional office, and it expressed things, including helping him get out of prison, getting a shovel, and some other things. The envelope containing the letter said, "Burn after reading." That was according to Riley, who said the letter was recovered from Brian Laundrie's backpack when the body was found.
That makes me sick.
Yes, it is absolutely insane. The Laundrie attorney says the letter does exist, but it was predated to Gabby and Brian's trip, which bullshit. Like,
no fucking way. No fucking way. Ain't no fucking way.
Who just writes about burying a body and like they'll get a shovel and you know burn this after you read it. None of that stuff is going on unless something has happened and you knew about it.
Absolutely not. You knew about it, and here's the thing. It's so hard because like I fully understand what I would go to you guys know, Lindsay and I would go to the ends of the fucking earth for our kids. I, as a mother, can't picture myself helping my child cover up a murder of somebody else's baby. Does that make sense? Like, I understand that we're both losing our babies in 2 different ways, but we're both losing our babies. And I cannot fathom that. I'm almost probably blaming myself. I'm not helping you bury this fucking body. Well, I'm not helping you cover this shit up.
To me, that is fighting violence with violence at that point. I'm also not helping you bury a body. I'm also not buying you a shovel, and I'm also telling on you.
Yeah, because I would no. So wait, do you know if it was true that they Brian Laundrie's parents got immunity?
I don't know that I ever found out if that was true or not. I know that that was speculation for a long period of time, and I never really followed up with that. But when we did first cover the case, do you remember it was rumored that Brian had possibly flown back home to Florida? And if we went back and like refollowed the trail of the facts of what we knew, it had been said that he was missing for a day or so. And then remember, he showed back up. He was hitchhiking back to the van. And remember how we thought it was so weird that he was said to be so clean. He had cash on him and an empty backpack. And that was according to the people who gave him the ride.
I do remember that.
There was also another article on Fox News. It says, newly released high-res photos shows injuries from Utah domestic call. And we can post the photos, but like there are very visible injuries. And those photos were covered from Gabby's phone. It showed blood on her face immediately before the 911 call was placed. And it was also said that someone allegedly saw Brian hitting Gabby. That's when the police responded to that incident. And this was the footage. Remember, like all the footage that we saw, it was heavily circulated where it was like the body cam at the beginning of the case.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah. So these photos that were found on her phone was taken right before the 911 call was placed. And it's like blood on her face. Her eye it almost looks like she had been punched and scratched on one of her eyes.
That's so sad.
It's so horrible. But just wanted to give that little update.
So I saw this TikTok. It's TikTok o'clock, where someone says true love doesn't exist anymore. No matter what you tell or how many times you say not to repeat, they will always tell someone, and especially bad news travels fast. And I thought that was really interesting because, I mean, I'm guilty of talking about things on this podcast that are from my specific perspective, where someone then has a perspective on what I'm saying, and then that gets twisted. So even if I'm saying something out of complete truth or my perspective or my view or whatever, if it's bad news, if it's just news in general, if it's anything, people take it and run with it, you know? So in real life, it's the same thing.
I feel like you have to dissect this and decide. I do think that trust does exist. There are some people that are way better secret keepers than others. And then there's some people that say, why do you need to keep a secret?
Well, I mean, like, I'm trying to think of.
It's like, well, first of all, you don't get to determine if it's a secret or if it's not, if it's mine. And also I already know you're going to tell by saying that. So,
but also just because you don't want something repeated doesn't necessarily make it a secret.
This is true too. This is very true. And I do think that trust does exist. Maybe that is me being optimistic versus pessimistic. But I also believe the second part of that, no matter who you tell or how many times you say not to repeat, they'll always tell someone. I do believe that most people have a sounding board that they tell everything to.
I agree. Although I feel like I have at least one friend that at least this is my belief, and I don't know if it's true or not. Maybe I'm giving her too much credit. Not sure. If I tell her not to tell somebody, she wouldn't even tell her partner. But I don't know. Maybe that's just the perception I have of her. Whether she actually doesn't tell her partner, I don't know. But when she says, "Oh, like I didn't even tell so and so because you told me not to," I low-key believe her. Like I believe her.
There's been a lot of things that you've told me that like I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, I believe that. Like, and maybe it's a case by case basis. Like maybe it's like there are certain things that they don't repeat, and maybe there's some things that are just so juicy that they just can't hold in. Spring is coming, and I don't know what the weather is by you, but the weather today is beautiful here in Delaware. And that means that my kids need spring wardrobes. So if you
Also
guys,
same.
yeah, like I just love like a new, even if it's just a couple basics or a couple staples that I can wear with like multiple outfits. I love that idea for my kids as well. So if you guys want to look good and discover new styles and brands just for you, Stitch Fix is kind of like your personal style partner. Your stylist will learn about all your tastes and collaborate with you on looks that you love. I do this for my kids a lot. I do mine kind of on a as needed basis, but my kids do theirs now by season. I love that when I log into the account, I can click on the clothes that pop up and say yes or no whether each of my children would wear certain things so that they get a better understanding of what each of my kids' styles are. And then they put together really cute looks that I maybe wouldn't have put together myself.
I absolutely love it because you get really cute things. Like you said, it's all put together and it just takes the thinking out of it. Jackson always loves to get his little fix. I love it too because again, I don't have to do any work and they do have a wide range of sizes available. So from extra small, 3XL, they're going to find your perfect fit. And you guys, you can discover over 1,000 brands and styles. I've tried some things that I've never tried before and fell in love with some new brands. So you can try the pieces at home before you buy them. You're going to keep what you love, send back the rest. Plus shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. And there's no subscription required, which is one of the coolest parts to me. You can simply order a refresh as needed or set it and forget it with regular seasonal fixes. You're in control. Right now, Stitch Fix is offering our listeners $20 off their first fix at stitchfix.com/convos. That's stitchfix.com/convos for $20 off today. stitchfix.com/convos.
The next TikTok that I wanted to talk about, which maybe you will have a different perspective on than me. So I'm scrolling on my For You page and this woman is talking about her childhood and how her parents, now this has to come from a place of wealth or some type of financially yes, like financially responsible people, because I can't personally give each of my children $200, whatever. So this woman is talking about her childhood and how her parents would give her $200 a month, and the kids were required to learn all about money this way. With the $200, the parents would require them to save 30% of it to long-term savings for things like a home. 10%, they're big in the church. And so 10% of it would go to, I think it's called
Tithe.
Okay, thank you. Another 30% to short-term savings for things like a laptop or a big ticket item. And they're responsible to buy their own clothes with this allowance. She says she was the third child, and so a lot of hand-me-downs came to her from her two older sisters. The older sister would sell her hand-me-downs to her at full price. She had to buy the clothes herself. Okay, wait, no, sorry. I messed that up. So the oldest sister would buy the clothes at full price and then sell the hand-me-downs to her sisters, which I thought was really smart. She never asked her parents for dolls, for anything. And this started when she turned 8 years old. So like around Lincoln and Jackson's ages. She claims that this helped her look for sales to get more for her money. And on top of this, her dad made them keep finance books. So every single spending that they did, she had to track it. At 13, they were required to make their own money, and they were no longer given $200 from their parents. They got jobs at 14, and she thinks that this is the best system ever. She believes that she appreciates how hard people work for their things because of this. I will post the TikTok that this is from, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it because I love the message behind it, but you have to be financially responsible, and also you have to be on top of something like this. Like this isn't something, in my opinion, that you can start and kind of choose it to be a priority sometimes. And then other days it's not important. And then you don't think about it for a month or a week. And then, the next week you're back to it. I don't think it's one of those situations. I feel like this situation specifically, in order for it to work, you would have to be on top of it and maintain it 100% of the time.
Okay. So this is similar to you and I talking about chores and, paying and being consistent with paying. And if we are paying for chores or if we aren't paying for chores, if you sometimes do it, you sometimes don't. I think all of those things have to be consistent. So if you're going to apply something like this is so very specific that you would have to be committed to that process. Because also if you're trying to teach your kids these things and then fall off the wagon, aren't you essentially
counterproductive? Because
it's completely unproductive.
Right, because you're not teaching them the consistency aspect of it is not, it's no longer there. And then it just goes back to like the commitment thing. Well, you can't pick and choose when something is a commitment and when it's not.
I have heard of people giving their children allowances, and specifying like what percentage has to be saved, what percentage has to be tithed, which it's a standard 10% pretty much across the board. What I've ever heard, that you tithe 10% of your earnings. I don't know that everybody does that. And then also you have like a certain amount of money that you can just like, I guess, frivolously spend however you want to. I would have a really hard time with this. Like I could apply that where I was paying like an allowance. They were doing specific things outside of normal chores. So remember how we were talking about like, I'm not going to pay you for doing something that like you should be doing anyway. Mm-hmm. But if these are like above and beyond things and they have set above and beyond things, I'm willing to pay for that. Also think that it's great to teach them how to save. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that I'm on board with my kids selling each other clothes like within our house. I am on board with keeping a finance book and children learning how to balance a checkbook. Even though most people aren't using a checkbook anymore, I think it's still an important life skill. And also I'm not gonna like make my kids ever pay for like their own food and clothes. Like that's why I am their parent.
Right. I definitely agree with you on that aspect. I just thought it was interesting because the woman in this TikTok said that she feels like as an adult now was the best thing ever. I mean, I think a lot of people love the way that their parents did certain things. And so I'm really glad that it worked for them. I think that was really cool. I thought this was a really cool option for people who can stay consistent with it. I cannot stay consistent with it. And I have a really hard time staying consistent with paying for chores, even when they're above and beyond. Like the other day, Isaac wanted to buy something and I was like, I looked at him and I said, how much money do I owe you? Because he'll do things that are above and beyond. Mm-hmm. Like if the dogs go outside and they bring all their toys out there, which they do more often than I'm willing to admit, and then the dog toys are just all over the yard. That is not my kids' responsibility. My kids did not want this dog. They don't care necessarily about picking up dog toys in the yard. Isaac will go out, he'll clean up the yard and stuff like that. And so when he wanted something, I was like, how much do I owe? He's like 50. So I was like, all right, cool. Like you went above and beyond. I'll give you the extra money.
Wait, tell me about this teacher and the allergy to bananas.
Lindsay, I was so fucking shook when I saw this TikTok. It made me so sick to my stomach and so sad because it was kids that were Lincoln and Jackson's ages. Jackson's in third grade or fourth?
Third grade.
Third grade. So is Lincoln. And I cannot picture Jackson doing something like this. And I know for a fact that Lincoln wouldn't do something like this. I don't even think it would cross his mind. This art teacher has an extreme allergy, an extreme allergy to bananas. She has signs posted outside of her classroom, inside the classroom, in the hallways. This is a school-wide policy, essentially, that you don't bring bananas to this teacher's classroom, and she's highly allergic. Well, the students, I think it was second and third grade, decided that it would be funny to rub banana peels all over the teacher's door and door handle, and she was sent into immediate anaphylactic shock. Yeah. And it made the news. I was so sick to my stomach because I feel like by Lincoln and Jackson's ages, they fully understand the difference between right and wrong.
I think that kids sometimes don't understand the severity of consequences of an action like that. And I think that's where it's the disconnect. Like they know what they're doing is wrong when they're doing it, but I think they're focused on the action and not the consequence that's going to come along with that action. I see that a lot at this age. And I was actually talking to Jackson's school counselor, and she was like, at this age, it's like third grade's like a really hard age, and kids are really finding who they are and like their personality, and kind of folding into like real, I think that's kind of like when cliques kind of start forming in third grade. And whereas these students, I don't know about the story, could have been thinking that they were doing something funny to see what happened. This could have killed this woman.
And then what? What would they have done if it killed her?
That's why I'm saying I don't think that most children think about the consequence of the action. They're just thinking about seeing through the action and not worrying about the consequence. And that goes back to you and I talking about the consequence has to match the action. What matches? What's the consequence that matches that action? Because that could have killed her.
Right, that could have killed her. And, I mean, it's plastered all over the school, all over the door, all over the classroom. I don't know how you can match that. I don't know how you help that the consequences sink in or help the reaction and she went into is it anaphylactic or anaphylactic?
Anaphylactic shock.
How do you explain that because Lincoln is allergic to bees. He understands what that means and how much pain he was in when he got stung by bees. So he understands that now he has an EpiPen and what that means. So I guess it's hard but not all kids are Lincoln. Not all kids can understand the way that Lincoln understands. Also, my nephew Bryce has peanut allergies. He fully understands. Caden has peanut allergies. They understand what that is and what that means at an age because they are allergic. So I guess kids that are not allergic, they wouldn't have that understanding, I guess.
But that's also where I think there should be more awareness around, because you do see so many more allergies today than when we were growing up. Like you might have had the rare child that had a peanut allergy, and it was like rare. Now I feel like kids have we are aware of so many more allergies, or I don't know what it is that causes these allergies, but the seriousness of an allergy and what, someone's exposure to that could cause to happen. That to me is mortifying. And I can tell you right now, as a mother, if I got the call from the school that my child was involved in something like that, I don't know what I would do, but I can tell you it wouldn't be good, because I have no tolerance for stuff like that, because to me, that is bullying.
Right. And I'm just thinking back to when I was in second grade. I don't remember ever thinking about doing things like that. And maybe that's a judgment, but it's hard to wrap my head around it.
That was never a thing. But that also goes to, I have said this before, that society today is very different than when we were growing up. And what definitely didn't fly back in the 90s, for sure, people find to be acceptable now. And so, I think we need to dial it back. And there's a lot of things that I could say that.
Wait, did you say things that were in the 90s are acceptable now or not acceptable now?
No, like things that kids do now would not have been acceptable in the 90s.
Right. No.
And I can't even imagine doing some of the things that the kids did now in the 90s, because I can tell you what would have happened to me. My ass would have been tore up.
Oh, my ass would have been grass. All right. I do want to tell you guys, or remind you guys, of something that I've been using. I've been wearing. You may see it in my lives when I'm talking with my hands or in pictures, videos, things like that. And that is the Aura Ring. So a healthier life starts with a deeper understanding of your body inside and out. And your body does actually have a voice of its own. So you just have to listen to it. I wear my Aura Ring on my pointer finger. And this is wearable technology that lets you know what's happening on the inside of your body, and it delivers personalized health insights. When I posted what my sleep cycle was and how much sleep I actually got, I posted it on my story, and people were like, what is that? Like, how do you know? Where are you getting this information? And I literally told them it's Aura Ring.
I think that it is so amazing that in this age, so much of our lives are trackable. to have this type of health monitoring technology. It's not brand new, but when you wear this, it works. And I think that that is amazing to be able to have access to those kind of insights. The Oura Ring delivers accurate, personalized health insights, all from a comfortable to wear ring. And like Kale said, you receive personalized data in the Oura app, so you can work on building healthy habits and living your best life. I could honestly see myself competing with myself on how much sleep that I could get. The Oura Ring is easy to wear, water resistant, comes in 2 styles, 5 colors to match your aesthetic. One small ring could make a world of difference in your health. Visit ouraring.com/coffee convos to find the right ring for you and get $15 off your purchase. That's ouraring.com/coffee convos. Don't forget to use our link to save $15 off on your Oura Ring.
The explosive new season of The Real Housewives of New Jersey is back. And if you're anything like me, you can't get enough. That's why I'm here to tell you all about some of my favorite podcasts and why Podcast One is the #1 destination for all things Jersey. First up, hear from one of our favorite Italian bombshells.
Hey everyone, it's your favorite Jersey housewife, Melissa Gorga. Make sure to check out season 2 of Melissa Gorga on Display.
Family takes center stage this season, and the ultimate OG is spilling all the tea. Hear it straight from the queen herself.
Namaste Bitches is all new every Wednesday, and if you haven't listened yet, here's what you've been missing.
Me, Teresa Giudice, and my co-host, Crazy Melissa Feaster.
Listen to Namaste Bitches with Teresa Giudice and Melissa Gorga on Display, wherever you get your podcasts. And it doesn't stop there. Check out podcastone.com/versus and play to win by voting on hot topics and pressing questions about your favorite housewives. That's podcastone/VERSUS.
Okay, so we have some messages from the Facebook and I want to get to them. Trigger warning. What is SA? I don't know what that is.
Sexual assault.
Okay. Trigger warning for sexual assault. It's a multi-question thing. So do you check your kids' phones and messages? Last night, I checked my son's text messages with his girlfriend. He is 13 and saw she told him that her ex-boyfriend raped her. I believe she's also 13 or 14. I asked my son this morning about the messages, and I said that I wanted her mom's phone number because I felt like it was important to let her mom know what I read. Am I wrong? I feel like it's a thin line, and I don't know if I was wrong to cross it. As a mom of both boys and girls, I felt it was important. So I hope I didn't overstep. You absolutely did not overstep, because as parents, first of all, if a teacher saw this in school, they're mandated reporters. So like if a teacher saw it, they would have to report it. I feel like as parents, you should have an obligation to other parents as fellow parents that, you know, you're all looking out for these kids together.
Right. No, 100%. I agree with you. If I saw that in my kids' phones, I do check my kids' phones. And I have seen different platforms have different opinions about giving kids privacy and things like that. But unfortunately, well, both fortunately and unfortunately, kids have to have phones at younger ages these days because there's no landlines really, and times are just changing. So unfortunately, younger kids have to have phones. And like I said in the beginning of this episode, is sometimes the kids are not fully responsible for them. So what they're doing on their phones is kind of scary sometimes. And in order to kind of keep them in check, you have to monitor what they're doing and what they're saying. Like I told Isaac, just from like a gossipy, clicky standpoint, I said, don't talk shit about anybody in text messages. I said, because you will see screenshots somewhere, somehow, something that you told someone not to say will have screenshotted what you said and show somebody else. I said, so don't fucking play with that. Second, something like this, if it was the other way around and it was my child that was saying that I was raped by the other person, I would want to know.
I would be upset if I knew another adult knew. They questioned if I knew and didn't tell me. I would be very upset.
Because even if it turned out to not necessarily be accurate or true, which I'm not suggesting, I'm just saying if that was the case, if it was something along the lines of like an attention-seeking thing, whatever the case may be, that is still a problem in and of itself. So we need to tackle this. Thank you for telling me. I'm going to be more upset that, you know, my child didn't feel comfortable one, that it happened to them, and two, that they didn't feel comfortable enough to come to me directly. I think the whole situation is sad, but no, I absolutely think you did not cross any lines by checking your child's phone and wanting to reach out to the other parent.
I also want to say that I was with one of my girlfriends just grabbing Mexican the other day, and she was telling me about going through her boy's phone. They're in high school. And she said, you would be appalled at some of the things that I found. And I was like, well, how do you address it? And she's like,
how do you?
Head on. Just be honest. Like, hey, I know it was probably, you're going to feel it was an invasion of your privacy, but in my opinion, as your mother, you shouldn't have privacy like that. And like what's going on in those text messages is wrong. And some girl sending you photos of her naked body in high school, wrong. Not that there's an excuse to be sending nudes, but we have all done it. Probably most of us listening here have sent it. You just shouldn't be sending like that stuff over text message anyway. And back to the gossipy point that you made about Isaac and like screenshots and whatever, that gossiping and doing shit like that over text message, I regularly talk to Jackson about. None of his friends have his phone number for a specific reason, because he is not ready to have that type of communication outside of school unmonitored. But if the occasional time Jackson wants to get a little silly and talk shit about Will, or, send Will a text message that I'm making Jackson brush his teeth, or, like whatever, I will put them both in a group text and be like, we're not talking shit. So if you want to talk shit, then just talk shit on this group text.
Like, say what you want to say kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I was speaking from experience, and I tell Isaac that all the time. I'm telling you this from a place of experience. I'm telling you this from a place of, I have already been through this. Do not make this mistake of doing these things. And he does a really good job at, telling me a fair share of things. And so I do trust that, I hope he is hearing me. Sometimes I do get worried about, am I getting through to my children? Are they hearing me? Or will they look back as an adult or an older child, in their late teens, look back and say, one thing my mom taught me was this, or one thing my mom showed me was this, so I hope that we're getting through to them, but it's really difficult. So that's scary. Phones are scary. The social media is scary. All of it is scary.
And also, before we move on, I just want to say my favorite thing to tell Jackson about his phone, if you would be afraid for me to see it or find out about it, then you shouldn't be doing it.
But that goes across the board into adulthood.
Yep.
Because if you don't want your partner or, someone, maybe your husband or your wife or something like that, to see something in your phone, then it shouldn't be in there, period. I mean, there is a fine line, because adults deserve privacy in that way. But some things, you just shouldn't have on your phone, or you shouldn't be doing.
Okay. Well, that brings me to a question for you.
Oh no.
Because I saw this on TikTok, and it was this guy that was talking about how you should have an open phone policy, and
in a partner. Okay.
And you should be able to freely go on their phone, and they should be able to freely go on your phone. If you have nothing to hide, then you won't care if they're going on it. I tend to agree. And I think that if you have that type of policy, I think it's also an accountability.
Yeah, it is an accountability. But also, don't ask for anything that you can't reciprocate.
Agreed. So it has to be a two-way street.
Yes. If you're asking for, what did you call it? Open communication policy.
An open phone policy.
Open phone policy. It has to go both ways.
Yeah, there's no like, my phone's not being open to you if your phone isn't open to me. It's a two-way street. Like, that's the whole point of it. I think that if more people had that, I think that with social media and just the amount of access that you have to other people today, that it would be they would be held more accountable for the things that they're doing, because if the phone's open, you can go on it at any time. The chances of them doing it are slim to none. But then the debate here is probably going to be, if you feel like they're going to do it and that is their character to do it, why do you feel like you need the open phone policy for accountability? Like they just shouldn't do it, not because there's an open phone policy.
It gets tricky, huh? That's like, I think did I tell this story before? Something about Elijah was telling me about someone at work who, he's like an older guy, but he doesn't have a phone password because he was trying to do a little bit of reverse psychology where his partner, his wife, wouldn't go through his phone because he didn't have a password. And so what could I have to hide if I don't have a password? So she's not going to check because I don't have a password. So I'm not going to keep anything bad in there. Turns out dude was cheating and she found out.
See, I think that I would say men, because I only have experience with men, so I don't know about women. I think that the more open they, just in my experience, the more open that they seem, the more things that they have to hide. And it is a way for them to make you feel safe. It is a way for them to build false trust. And they think that they're manipulating you. And in a lot of ways, it is a manipulation if you're not careful. I don't care. Like if you, at this point in my life, if you tell me like, I don't have a password, I don't have this, I'm not doing this. No, bitch, I'm checking every app. I am checking all messengers. Like I am.
That's the mistake that men make. They don't check all the things. Like I'm checking internet browser. I'm checking internet history, messages on your Instagram. Do you have a Twitter? If you have a Twitter, that's a red flag. I have a Twitter, but you can't have one. It's a hypocrisy thing. Also, I'm checking your Facebook messages. I mean, I don't need to do those things now, but if I was to need to, I would. And that's where the men fuck up. They don't check all the things.
Okay, wait. Here's another question. Do you feel like someone who is overly like checking and finding nothing? So let's say like I had this open phone policy. This person has like been on my phone, never finds anything. I know they're going on my phone, never finding anything. In my experience, I learned it was because they were actually hiding something and trying to divert, even though they were finding nothing.
1000%.
But like, why? Yes. Why was I?
It's projection.
32 or 33 when I found this out.
That's projection. I never understood what projection was until like you hear the word projection. Oh, it says more about them than it does about you. And like, I never fully understood that until year fucking 3 of therapy. I did not understand what that meant when people say, oh, they're accusing you of cheating because they're actually cheating. It's projection. You're deflecting. You are wanting to place the blame on the other person. Same thing for your phones. You're constantly looking for a problem so that you don't get caught up with your problem. And you can turn around and say, well, you this, you did this. And also in therapy, I learned that when someone brings something up to your attention, that is the only subject that should be coming up. It's not a time for you to then bring up, well, I found this in your phone. You know what I mean? So like, that's not a time for you to do that. It's what the topic is right here and now, right now, not deflecting onto. So the same people that are doing that are going to be the same people that try to flip the argument when they get caught on the other person. But I found this on your phone.
Yeah. It's like, first of all, since it was so important that you found that on my phone, why the fuck am I just hearing about it when I found what I found on your phone?
Right. Exactly.
Because I will tell you about yourself. That is one thing. I'm like, I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. I'm not going to make it look nice. Like, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to come in guns blazing. I am going to get my licks back. And I don't care. Like, I'm going to tell you about yourself and everything that you are.
I want a GIF that says, I'm going to get my licks back. I want a GIF of you, of Lindsay Chrisley saying, I'm going to get my licks back. Okay, Kristen, if you're listening, please make me a GIF that says, I'm going to get my licks back. Okay?
I cannot.
I recently got a new package from Vegamore because I love this stuff. I do so much damage to my hair because I bleach it. And I know that I curl it, I straighten it, I do blowouts, all the things. And so I have done some damage to my hair over the years. And if you're like me and struggle to have like that long hair because of the damage of the split ends, look no further, because Vegamore has transformed my hair. They have a holistic approach to hair health uses, smart botanicals that promote visibly thicker, fuller looking hair. You're going to love this. Literally, when I did one of my shoots last week, the girl who did my hair was like, Kale, you have so much hair. There's so much hair here. And I don't feel like I've heard that in so long, because I bleach my hair and over the years, it just thins out, it breaks, et cetera, et cetera. So it truly has made a huge difference in my hair.
I also use Vegamore, have it in my shower, have it in my little travel bag as well. And I love that they do not use harmful chemicals. Their products are cruelty-free, never contain parabens or hormones. And Vegamore has something for everyone looking to improve their hair health. The GRO Revitalizing Shampoo and Conditioner Kit is what I have, and it works together to create visibly thicker hair and improve hair from the roots. You just massage the shampoo into your scalp for 60 seconds, follow up with a conditioner, and it is as simple as that. And with Vegamore, there is no risk when trying, because they have a 90-day money-back guarantee, but with 91% of customers saying they saw visibly thicker hair with Vegamore in just 3 months. You guys are not going to want to run out. Don't let the damage of the past hold your hair back. See your hair's full potential with Vegamore. Go to vegamore.com/coffeecombos and use code coffeecombos to save 20% on your first order. That's vegamor.com/coffeecombos, code coffeecombos to save 20% at vegamore.com/coffeecombos. Okay, this next person says, is it frowned upon to be applying to jobs while you're on the job, or to be looking for a job while you're employed? I'll admit I've applied to jobs on my work computer, but it usually is when it's slow and I've completed my work tasks. Anytime I've been on an interview, I always schedule it during my lunch hour. I don't ask for PTO, but apparently a lot of people think it's frowned upon. First of all,
what you do with your paid time off is what you do with your paid time off. I don't care if anyone disagrees with that, but if I am off, whether I am paid or not, I am always going to be looking for a better opportunity somewhere, or what the next thing is when it comes to work.
Well, and who's to say that the company that you're working for isn't interviewing your replacement? Like, no one's
There's no
saying
job
that.
security out here in this bitch anymore. Like, there's no fucking job security. They are looking for the next cheapest replacement for you. You do not owe your workplace loyalty. You owe them the tasks that are promised, and they owe you the pay. Anything you do with your paid time off, non-paid time off, your breaks, that's not anyone's business.
I think if you're working, this scenario is a little different to me if you are working for an individual and there is like this personal relationship that, you're like working for or with one specific person, not a corporation. I think that this changes a little bit, because I personally think that I would feel so offended and betrayed if I knew that someone was like searching for a job and didn't come to me and just let me know, like, hey, like, this is what I'm doing. Like, I feel like, this isn't a good fit anymore, and I'm looking to kind of like move on. I would respect that and would not be upset that they were looking for another job, because it also gives me the opportunity to find that person's replacement. But when you're talking about a corporation, these big corporate companies, they don't care personally about you. Like,
no, they don't.
It's what they can get out of you and the time that they're paying you for what they're paying you for. And you are disposable.
100%
You are
disposable.
replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Since we talked a little bit about schools on this episode, I had seen this tweet, and it was talking about school districts, and it says, teachers and school staff, we know how much stress you are under and how close you are to breaking down. Your physical and mental health are our priority. Please focus on self-care and take care of yourself. Also, school districts, please share this email with your staff. We are concerned with a trend of using sick leave to take much needed break from stresses of work. Employees often refer to it as mental health day. Regretfully, the mental health day reasoning is a misconception among some employees. Employees cannot use sick leave to get away from the stresses of work and enjoy some time off. they can use personal leave for that purpose. That is why we have negotiated personal leave days. The district funds sick leave as it would a short-term disability insurance policy. Our budget for sick leave is not based on everyone using every day available. It is not a use or lose benefit. The funding will not sustain unlimited use. If employees abuse sick leave, the district will have no choice but discontinue this benefit and switch to short-term disability benefit package managed by an insurance provider. Most short-term disability benefit programs require a 10 contract day waiting period and completion of lots of paperwork before the benefit is paid. That means that there is no paid benefit until 10 days have been passed. We don't want that. Please, we must protect our sick leave benefits. When we question sick leave use, we will require the employees to provide a healthcare provider certification. We will ask you to help us by reporting sick leave abuse and avoiding temptation to use it for anything other than qualified healthcare needs, respectfully. First of all, I'm pissed.
I'm so pissed for the teachers. I'm so pissed off for the teachers. I am so pissed off for the teachers with this because it is so hypocritical, number one. Number two, you're already severely underpaying these professionals, these people who care for our children 8 to 10 hours a fucking day. If you include aftercare and before care, sometimes school have those programs.
Yes, ma'am.
No, absolutely the fuck not.
Okay, not only are they basically calling people out for using sick leave because, in my opinion, these teachers feel like they don't have any other choice other than to use sick leave to get the time off. Because if they went to the school and said, I need a much needed mental health break, that's not going to be approved because they truly don't care about your mental health as long as you're doing your job and not putting them in a bad position. Also, this is bullshit for a school district. This is just one example, but this probably happens very often to report abuse of sick leave. So now not only are you saying that if they need a mental health day, they can't take a sick day. And if they do, and you know that someone else is doing it, you're going to narc on them. I'm not fucking narking.
No, I'm not.
Because I'm taking it with them. When I find out that they're doing it, I'm also doing it.
Right. So here's the thing for me, because I have teachers that are friends of mine that have kids as well. What if that mental health day, that self-care day that they're using a sick day for, is the only 8 hours that they have without students in their classroom and without kids at home? Maybe their kids, their personal children that they've birthed or adopted, whatever the case may be, are at school under the care of somebody else, and they need this day to have their mental health day where it is fully about them. I don't understand how they could even is mental health not that? If you don't take care of your mental health, it would possibly, the consequence could be that you develop depression, anxiety, other things. So
to me, in my personal opinion as a parent, if my child's teacher is in desperate or feels in desperate need that the only way they can get a mental health day is to take a sick day, I would absolutely advocate for that teacher to take that sick day. Because one, I don't want my child subjected to someone who is mentally not able to take on that task, which is why they are requesting for that mental health day, because they are not able to do what they need to do in the classroom. This really pisses me off. And I think that there's not enough emphasis put on mental health with students and with teachers in school settings, period. We had someone write in about, how I said, sometimes I just want Jackson to take a mental health day and it's good for you. And you shouldn't have to have an excuse to take a mental health day. You should literally be able to send a note to the school saying, my child needed a mental health day, and that is why he was not at school. And to me, that should be
more than enough
and considered an excused absence.
But it's not. Actually, just texted my girlfriend the screenshot of that email. She's a teacher, and she said, The only way our district could get away with an email similar to that is just because there's such a shortage of substitutes. But I think they would more so ask for as much notice as possible instead of a last minute call out. So they would never tell, she said, I doubt they would ever tell us to not take a mental health day, but I really don't know where they get the funding for our sick leave. I just assumed it was part of the district budget. That's what she said. So the teachers are not even in the know about where the budgets come from about their mental health day, but agreed. I do know, and she doesn't teach at my kid's school, but I know for my kids' district, they are so short on substitutes that one of my girlfriends who teaches actually asked me to go sub because I have my degree. All I would have to do is take like a couple hour class and I would go get like $100 a day or something for subbing. Unfortunately, I don't have the type of schedule that would work for that. I mean, I might do it just to do it in the off chance that I could, but that I do know is that our district is so short on subs. But like she said, just give enough notice like, hey, I'm going to take a mental health day. But also that's not always possible. That's not always possible to give, 3 weeks notice for a mental health day.
Well, because you might just like wake up and feel like you are in crisis or like spiraling and you need that day right then. I will say one of my closest girlfriends is a teacher, and anytime she's ever called out of work, I know that she has always actively herself tried to find a sub before requesting the time off.
Okay.
So, I mean, I do know that there is shortage of subs. That's just like a known thing, like in schools. I totally would sub as well. And if I knew that I could step in because a teacher needed to take a mental health day, totally. Like I can go up there and, I mean, I'm not probably going to be doing the best job, but like I can go up there and sit at the desk and like wrangle the children. Speaking of wrangling, let's wrangle our foul play.
Okay, I'm ready. I always get scared of these foul plays because you just never know what you're going to get.
I know.
So foul play. Hi, Kale and Lindsay. Debated on sharing this one from the sheer trauma of mentally reliving it, but here we go. I had a huge crush on an older guy literally from elementary school on. Like I was in 4th grade and this guy in 9th grade. To my surprise, after I graduated high school, he started messaging me on Facebook asking to hang out. First of all, what is the difference between 4th grade and 9th grade? Is it that high? Like is
5
it that-
years.
Oh, that's not bad. I mean, in school age it is, but as adults, it's not. Okay. Of course I said yes. I was like living a crazy fantasy and things were physical early on. We were at his apartment and he took me into his bedroom. I could have fainted. I was so excited. It was some pretty vanilla sex, but took a turn for the absolute worst when he started calling me mom, moaning the word mom and literally yelling and screaming mom. What the hell? Needless to say, I was dry and done. Who the hell does that? What a shitty fucking way to live out your fantasy. Like I have 1000% been like had such a crush on somebody, but I've never actually like, it never came to fruition. I cannot imagine if I was like so excited to like hook up with somebody or do that and that's how it turned out. I would be so fucking pissed and also mortified.
I mean, I can't really say because I wasn't doing like the hookup thing back in those times. So
I wasn't either, but I can't imagine had I done that, like mom?
I couldn't even imagine hooking up, but I'm just saying if I was hooking up and this was like somebody that I fantasized about from 4th grade on, and then they, like I dropped my panties for him and he started yelling mom, like absolutely not. Like that to me is like a reason to call the cops. Like that to me, something's wrong. Like something's very wrong. And what's going on? And like, do you think I'm your mom?
I would be so pissed off. I
literally don't have any more words for this. Okay, next.
Okay. This is a long one. This one's a doozy. Okay. Hey, ladies. Love you guys on the podcast so much. I had been debating submitting this foul play for a while, but after the labia swelling discussion, I decided to just put it all out there. When I was in high school, probably around 17 years old, I was still pretty naive and embarrassed about discussing anything bad related with my mom or anyone else for that matter. I noticed one day that I was starting to get some discomfort and a little itchiness down there and was mortified of the thought of asking my mom what to do about it because I was nervous. It was an STD or something related to having sex for the first time, and there was no way I was having that talk.
Uh-oh.
The problem started getting worse and worse, and I was trying to come up with home remedies to try and fix it. My mom was the queen of using Neosporin on everything, so I decided to lather the kitty up and pray for some relief in the morning. That was absolutely the wrong thing to do because I woke up in the morning in extreme discomfort and discovered my labias had swelled to the actual size of a grown man's ball sack. No. Terrified, I had to confess to my mom what I had done, and she insisted I let her feel how swollen they were through my undies. She panicked and rushed me to the hospital.
No.
I couldn't even close my legs together, so I had to waddle in looking like I pooped my pants. A team of doctors and all the med students, kill me now, had me laying spread eagle on the exam table like a damn science experiment because they had never seen anything like it. Imagine a group of young, cute med students having to touch your swollen cap the size of a grapefruit. I don't know how I made it out alive. I had to keep repeating the story of my stupid mistake to everyone that came in to check me out. Turns out all I had was a dang yeast infection and was having an allergic reaction to the Neosporin. What could have been a simple treatment with some monostat, but instead I took the longest, most mortifying route to getting it cleared up. Moral of the story, never slather your vag in Neosporin and never be too embarrassed to ask for proper medical care. Holy fuck, I would die.
Okay, first of all, I think that probably is a common thing, to be like afraid that something's like going on and then you don't want like your parents to know. I could imagine that's like probably a very common thing at that age. Also, I immediately thought it was a yeast infection when you started reading.
Really? So, it didn't even cross I didn't know what it was. I didn't even think about it.
I diagnose people with stuff all the time. Like there's a couple people in my life I've diagnosed with IBS, like some other problems. But yeah, like no. And don't just be wiping shit on your coochie. Like,
no, I wouldn't know
that you don't know why you're putting it there. Like,
but honestly, this just goes to show that we need to remove the stigma about, talk and discussion around these types of things, because yes, I don't know if it would fall under the category of sex education, but maybe like I sure as shit wouldn't have known what a yeast infection was in my teens. I would have no idea.
No.
So I just feel like at least in health class, if we're not going to talk about sex, like could we talk about common things that could happen that are not related to sex? Like this is still kind of sexual health, but I would like my kids to know about yeast infections and UTIs and how to prevent them, what type of symptoms they have, things like that.
See, I would have also been scared. Like if this happened to me, I would have been like mortified to go to my parents. And that's why I'm saying that I think it's probably like a common thing. But I do think that we should be comfortable having these conversations with our parents and normalize having those conversations, just like having conversations about sex, STDs, all these things, so that it's not a shock.
But the parents have to start them. The parents have to be open to talking to these kids about them too, because my mom never did unless I brought it up to her. Like I straight up asked her, but it was already too late at that time because I was already fucking. Like I was already having sex when I shouldn't have been. So,
yep.
I mean, the parents have to do their job as parents and be willing to talk about it and not shame their children. I think a big part of it is shaming kids and, making them feel bad about certain things that are natural.
Yep. 1000% agree. Well, on that note, I am going to go to Sam's Club. Wanted to ask you really quick though, are you a Sam's Club or Costco girl?
I really prefer Costco, but I don't have a Costco down here by me. The closest one is like almost an hour away. So Sam's Club is closer.
Okay. Would love to know what everyone else thinks, because I like specific things from Sam's Club and specific things from Costco. If you guys have not followed us on @CoffeeConvos Podcast on Instagram, make sure you follow us over there. If you have not subscribed to us, you can do that by searching the Purple Podcast app. Type in Coffee Convos, click subscribe, click the 5th star, leave us a written review. You can also find us on any other podcast app, and always first at Podcast One. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
All month long on Pluto TV, stream the biggest Tyler Perry movies free. Watch your favorites like Medea's Witness Protection and Medea's Big Happy Family. Join Tyler Perry as he goes on a couples retreat with Sharon Leal in Why Did I Get Married? Or Idris Elba and Gabrielle Union in the Tyler Perry directed film Daddy's Little Girls. Plus, Pluto TV has hundreds of channels with thousands more movies and TV shows. Available on live and on demand. Download the free Pluto TV app on all your favorite devices and start streaming now. Pluto TV. Drop in, watch free.